Why is the United States Postal Service giving letters to its employees talking about a large-scale emergency? The letter is dated from January the 5th. You can pause to read, but I am going to read you some of what is being said in this letter. It says, during large-scale emergencies, epidemics, hurricanes, civil unrest, etc., states and localities may issue curfew orders or other directives restricting travel and other commercial and personal activities. Many of these orders will explicitly exempt providers of essential services, but some do not. Even if a state or local action does not contain such an exemption, the Postal Service's operations are governed by federal law. Therefore, we will continue to fulfill our public service mission by accepting and delivering mail and packages in accordance with federal law. Although Postal Service employees are essential workers who may be exempt from state and local directives, any decision by the Postal Service to continue operations during an emergency must ensure that operations can be conducted in a manner that protects the safety of our employees and the public. The Postal Service will continue working closely with federal, state, and local authorities to ensure that we are safely carrying out our mission during emergencies. The second part of it says employees and contractors should carry the essential service letter while performing duties for the Postal Service and traveling to and from work. Because state and local government restrictions do not apply to prevent Postal Service employees from reporting to and performing their work, all employees and contractors must be provided with a copy of the essential service letter attached to this memorandum.
Well, this is concerning and should put everybody on alert because the U.S. Postal Service has not issued a letter like this since COVID. So the letter basically says that all Postal Service employees should carry their essentials letter and their ID to bypass any travel restrictions. So what's coming? Here's the letter. Take a look. Follow-up video to the post I posted 2 days ago about the letter sent out by the U.S. Postal Service. This letter hasn't gone out since COVID, telling the postal workers that they need to carry this essential letter and their ID to bypass any travel restrictions. I want you to look at some of the comments that have been made on this post because I just asked for postal workers to, hey, is this real? And a lot of you in some states said that you have not seen this, and there's a lot of states that have. So here are the states that have seen the letter, and here are some of the comments. Take a look. Okay, check this one out. USPS employee in Iowa, our entire office received the letter. Minnesota employees got this as well. Iowa here, I got the letter. Same here in Oklahoma. Here in Minnesota, received it Thursday, and they actually put a copy of their letter that they received. All right, how about this one? My husband is a USPS worker in Oregon and got one just before COVID and just another one this week. I'm a postal employee and this is true. Which state? New York. Postal worker here too. It's been in the USPS groups, I guess they're chats. Some areas have received them, so not everybody. Okay, welcome Tennessee. I work in Tennessee and we were given a letter last week. This person says they weren't mailed, they were actually handed out in the Minnesota office this week. We got our letter today, Northwest Rochester. This is on 110. Another one in Tennessee, received it last week. Okay, so those are just a few of the comments on here, and I welcome any other comments from postal workers around the area. It looks like Tennessee, Oregon, Iowa, New York, obviously Minnesota, have gotten the letter. Any other states out there?
Iran, bitch, we did World War I, and we did World War II. Bitch, we'll do this shit again. Iran, we ain't scared of you. No cap. Where the fuck do y'all stay? We ain't never fuck Iran. Bitch, we did World War I, and we did World War II. Bitch, we'll do this shit again. Iran, we ain't scared of you. No cap. Where the fuck do y'all stay? We ain't never heard of you. We send troops at your door. Bitch, you know we purging.
Yeah, Iran. You ain't gonna be Jack.
few moments later.
And they are the first U.S. service members killed in Operation Epic Fury. They were likely part of the U.S. Army Material Command and the Army Sustainment Command, which is part of their global logistics and sustainment.
Tell me that God is not real. Like, I was starting to have the craziest freaking dream until my son came in here waking me up. I was dreaming about the freaking war that's going on. That right here on the interstate where you come to go to the mall where I live at, come this way easily, no problem. You didn't even see it. You didn't see the war, no nothing. And so the story was I was going to drop my kids off somewhere. And then I was on my way back by myself, and I just see missiles and things flying over, and I'm like, what is going on? Y'all, the ladies outside like, no, don't drive any further. No, don't drive any further. Y'all, missiles just shooting. So I had to get out the car and start backwards, like on my back, going backwards. So I was. And lo and behold, like, I'm starting to panic, y'all, in my sleep. So I was about to start crying in my sleep, and my son came and woke me up with chicken wings. You can't tell me that is not God.
Fair.
Let's hear more about the future strategy of the Americans and Israelis.
It means we will fly all day, all night, day and night, finding, fixing, and finishing the missiles and defense industrial base of the Iranian military, finding and fixing their leaders and their military leaders.
By finding and fixing the Iranian military base while flying during the day and night, he meant bombing an elementary school during the day and dropping millions of dollars worth of bombs on 2D paintings of F-14 fighter jets and Mi-17 helicopters at night, like these ones. It's not even a spoof anymore. The powerful military of America and the settler colony wasted millions of dollars worth of arsenal on these anamorphic 2D paintings. And then they went to town claiming major military success. Someone asked the Twitter AI group about its authenticity, and its reply was in the affirmative.
You can't make this shit up. You can't make this shit up. Iran has to get the award for the most clever shit ever in war, bruh. These niggas drew airplanes on the ground knowing how the U.S. and Israel work, because they know they ain't gonna come with no cavalry and do it for real. They gonna try to bomb them. These niggas drew pictures of planes on the ground, and the United States and Israel just blew like millions and millions of dollars on bombs. They hit no targets. When they tell this story, how they lost the war from some graffiti artists, oh my God. It's great. It's crazy.
One minute. Okay, 1 second. Okay. So when it gets warmer again, nothing moves. The Iranians painted it on the ground. They painted it on the ground. And they were like, yeah, you feel bad, yeah, bad man, no, bad man. We're gonna waste your money. And we're gonna waste your missile. Major freaking trolling, I kid you not. Alright, okay, I'm good. So basically, Israel's like, oh, look at us, we're bad mans, we bombed this helicopter, yeah, Iran, take that, blah, blah, blah. And Iran's like, Computer said no, it was a drawing. They literally had people painting fake helicopters in advance of the Americans coming talk about guerrilla warfare. And this lot, they put it online. No one of them had the intelligence to realize that they got duped, and they put it online, and they're flipping laughing stock because you got people like me laughing on the flipping internet. I'm sorry. My head's actually hurting at the back for laughing too much. It's actually hurting. Has it ever happened to you that the back of your head starts hurting? I got this so seriously. Lord have mercy on my soul.
I'm kind of obsessed with birds. And that's not even the best part.
Mothers out there are worried that we're going to have a draft, that they're going to see their sons get in and daughters get involved in this. What do you want to say about the president's plans for troops on the ground? As we know, it's been largely an air campaign up until now.
It has been, and it will continue to be, and President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander-in-chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table. So Mr. No New Wars won't rule out reinstating the draft, according to Caroline Leavitt, which is really odd because I thought that the president of peace said that we had already won this war. We haven't won the war. In fact, we woke up to images of black rain, oil fires, and Armageddon-like scenes all over Iran. And reports from residents in Tehran that they have been told to stay inside for fear of toxic acid rain. They need to worry about what they're eating because of contamination on food. They've bombed a desalination plant, and people report that it's difficult to breathe if they try to go outside or drive anywhere. A 7th U.S. soldier has now died. The State Department has bypassed Congress to send Israel more than 20,000 bombs, and the State Department has issued mandatory departure orders for diplomats in Saudi Arabia. All of this is the reality of a war that's being decided in Washington by men who are playing golf this weekend and men who think that it's fun to cosplay military heroes and then come up with cheesy slogans and sizzle reels on social media to celebrate their victories. These are the men who will decide if they're going to reinstate the draft and ship your boys off to war.
What would you say if there was a draft, mandatory military service, to send troops to Iran or the Middle East to fight in this war if it got any more serious? I mean, it's quite serious now, but I'm talking if it went more bigger scale, more countries involved. You know what I'm talking about? Check out this clip from Fox News and notice she didn't really say that's not going to happen. Listen to this.
Mothers out there are worried that we're going to have a draft, that they're going to see their sons get in and daughters get involved in this. What do you want to say about the president's plans for troops on the ground? As we know, it's been largely an air campaign up until now. It has
been and it will continue to be, and President Trump wisely does not remove options off of the table. I know a lot of politicians like to do that quickly, but the president, as commander-in-chief, wants to continue to assess the success of this military operation. It's not part of the current plan right now, but the president, again, wisely keeps his options on the table.
Okay, hold on a second. I typed this in for the U.S., and I'm going to tell you what it says for Canada. But it says, no, there's no active duty military. Don't worry about that. But automated registration of the selective service system remains in place as a contingency, and it's going to start in late 2026. Now, when I typed in for Canada, is there a draft? Is there a mandatory military service? It says, no, Canada is totally voluntary. It's been voluntary since World War II. In other words, it was mandatory during a world war, but it's not mandatory when there's no world war. You know what I mean? So if there was another world war, is all of a sudden, like, to me, it's not very convincing to say, like, no, don't worry about a draft. The last one was during a world war.
The White House is considering a military draft. No, I'm not exaggerating. White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt was on an interview with Fox News, and the anchor asked her, hey, what do you say to those parents who are worried about their sons being drafted to fight in a war they don't agree with? And Carolyn Leavitt basically said, oh, we're not ruling out any options. Let me explain to you what that really means. The only reason you even consider a military draft for a conflict is because you are planning a ground invasion and you are expecting it to have high casualty numbers. Every angle I look at this situation from, I can find no other reason that they're refusing to rule out a military draft other than they are planning a ground invasion of Iran. I mean, you may be telling yourselves, oh, this will be just like Vietnam. No, it will be so much worse. Unlike Vietnam, the government of Iran has spent the last 30 to 50 years preparing for this conflict because they knew it was coming. That means they are better prepared for this scenario, better supplied, and better trained. And it's also worth noting that as a percentage of Iran's land, they are one of the most mountainous countries on the planet. The Iranians know those mountains. The United States doesn't. So here are some things to keep in mind. First, look up conscientious objectorship. Figure out how to apply for it. Figure out how to win an application for conscientious objectorship, because that will keep you out of a draft. Second, start talking about fragging as publicly and often as you can on social media and in real life. Keep in mind at all times that the penalty for refusing draft summons or draft deployment is a far better alternative, even though it is a 5-year sentence in prison. We have no indication that a draft is imminent. We do have a heavy indication that the United States government under Donald Trump is considering one anyway.
Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash. Double honors to the apostles and the bishops of Great Millstone. And Yahweh Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kodash, Brakatham. To the 144,000 servants, as well as the remaining elect of Israel. So this article here is from Reuters.com concerning China. And pretty much China is moving full speed ahead concerning the mark of the beast, which is the implantable microchip. And in this case, it's referring to the forehead part of that scripture or that prophecy. Again, Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all. The he referring to the elite of Esau, Edom, primarily the central bankers out there in Europe. Right. Right now, they're getting ready to establish their new world order, which you can read, by the way, on the back of their $1 bill in Latin, Novus Ordo Seclorum, which means New World Order. Okay, and it also says Annuit Coeptis, which means our enterprise is favored, all right, or something to that effect. And that's what they're getting ready to fully establish. Okay, right now, they're branding this New World Order as the Great Reset and the Fourth Industrial Revolution, which is the merging of man and technology. Okay, and at the helm of this technology is the implantable microchip, which is going to go underneath the skin, all right? Mostly on the, in your hand, but also in your head, in your brain. Again, Revelation 13:16, and he causeth all. And what's meant by causing all is that they're going to bring about some type of black swan event, whatever that may be, that's going to bring about or cause a great reset. right? Where everything is going to go digital in terms of your identification, paper money. Now, pretty much everything is going to revolve around having that implantable microchip, okay, in order to participate in this new world order. And he calleth all, both small and great, rich and poor, free and bond, to receive a mark, the mark being the implantable microchip, okay, to receive a mark in their right hand or in their forehead. And when you go into that word, forehead, let's go to it here in Revelation 13, verse 16. When you look up this word, forehead, in the Greek word is metapon, right, which is referring to essentially your brain, right, the space between the eyes, the forehead, you know, which is referring to your frontal lobe, okay, your brain. And that's what this article here is going into. China could see widespread use of brain-computer tech in 3 to 5 years, experts say. So China is putting, you know, a time frame of 3 to 5 years to where they see widespread use meaning, you know, the majority of the public out there in China is going to get down with the implantable microchip, you know, primarily the brain chip, the mark in the forehead. This is what they're envisioning, experts say. So let's see what they're saying here. It says, I'm going to read it from here. China could see brain-computer interface, BCI technology, move into practical public use within 3 to 5 years as products mature, a leading BCI expert said, as Beijing races to catch up with US startups, including Elon Musk's Neuralink. Beijing elevated BCIs to a core future strategic industry in its new 5-year plan released this week, placing it alongside sectors such as quantum, embodied AI, 6G, and nuclear fusion, which we know what the White House right now is saying about the 6G race, right? Which we done lessons on that, because right now, the White House announced how, you know, they've got a 6G race going on, which is going to include implantable devices. Okay, that's actually on the whitehouse.gov website. As a matter of fact, let me see if I can pull up some information concerning that. What does the White House website say about the 6G race and implantable devices? The White House has emphasized the importance of 6G technology for national security, economic prosperity, and the development of emerging technologies like AI, as in artificial intelligence, robotics, and implantable technologies. Okay, which at the helm of these implantable technologies is going to be what? The microchip implant, which is the mark of the beast. That again, us here at Great Millstone is warning you Israelites about. It says in December 2025, President Trump signed a memorandum titled Winning the 6G Race, outlining actions to secure spectrum resources and advance American leadership in 6G development. The memorandum directs the relocation of federal systems to free up spectrum for 6G use and calls for diplomatic efforts to build international support for US positions on 6G development. So right now there's a 6G race between these two superpowers, that being America and China. And so they're in a race, to get this infrastructure up and get the people chipped at the behest of the elite, okay? Because they're all in on it. All these various different countries around the world are in on the plans of the elite, to pretty much enslave the masses of people with a chip, okay? Let's see what else. Let's see what else we can grab from this article here. I'm just skimming through it. Okay, we'll read this. China is the second country to launch invasive BCI human trials. More than 10 trials are active, matching the US, while scientists plan to enroll more than 50 patients nationwide this year. Recent high-profile trials have enabled paralyzed patients and amputees to regain partial mobility and operate robotic hands or intelligent wheelchairs. And this is going into the miracles, okay? This is going into the lying wonders of Satan. The lying wonders, the miracles that we read about in the scriptures, in the book of Revelation. Also, the lying wonders is mentioned in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. That's going into Esau's wizardry, his technology. Being able to so-called heal people via his pseudoscience. Let's see. Just bear with me here. I'm just seeing what we can pull out from this article. That's worth reading. Yeah, that's pretty much all I'm going to read from this article here. But the point being is that these countries, they're on it. They're on doing the bidding of the elite in terms of getting this chip out there, whether it be in the hand or in the brain. They're moving forward with this agenda, which is prophecy at the end of the day. Okay, it's the prophecies coming to pass, being fulfilled before our very eyes. Now it says 3 to 5 years. We're hoping that Revelation 13 and 16 is fulfilled, tomorrow. But again, we just got to stay on our watch, measure the times, and wait for our Lord Yahweh Shema Shai to do his thing, in which that's what he's doing. So we'll stay on top of this topic, and until next time, I'll just say shalom.
This is what my face looks like because of all the stress that I've endured in my life this past year. And I know it's not the worst, but I usually have very clear skin. And this is what stress, worrying about money, worrying about whether I'm putting food on my table, not getting enough sleep because of the stress. This is what it does to you. What is the point of being alive? Actually, like, what is the point of it in this country? We pay to work. I can't even afford my rent. I live in a shoebox on the outskirts of the city. I don't even live in the city. I can't even afford to put groceries on the table. I work 6 days a week. I get yelled at by guests at my job because their food's not coming quickly enough. I work at a fine dining restaurant. I can't even afford the food on the menu. It's so dystopian to know that there's guests that are in there ordering this food, don't even finish it. They're yelling at us about where's their food. They're insufferable. They act like they're the only table there. They're very unkind and inconsiderate. They stay way past closing. They don't care if we have homes to get to, partners, pets, or that we simply just want to get rest. All of that, working there. And the people that work there can't even afford the food on the menu, let alone their rent, by working there. Everybody at my job has to work a second job. I work 2 jobs. I work 6 days a week. Still can't afford anything. And I have a degree. I have a bachelor's degree in digital marketing. And I own a business for 10 years. Doesn't matter. This country is a joke. Look what it does to somebody. This is what it does. This is like real life stress. And I eat a clean diet. I don't drink alcohol either. Like, I don't eat fried food. Like, I don't have energy drinks. I don't drink soda. I don't eat candy on a regular basis. I have a sweet treat every once in a while. This is what my face looks like because of stress. It's impossible. And on top of that, nobody has compassion anymore. Everyone's fucking rude. Everyone. My managers are rude. Just common people are rude. Friends, I'm losing friends. I can't take it. I can't do this anymore. I decide to unsubscribe. I'm unsubscribing from all of it, actually, at this very moment. I love it when I get a notification. Your rent is due. Thanks for the notification. Thanks for taking the time to send me the notification. I don't have it. I don't have rent. Please. It's not going to be here on time. Sorry, babe. Just like how the property management group, my dishwasher's been broken since before Thanksgiving. And they still have, there's no urgency to get myself a new dishwasher. So there's no urgency to pay the rent because of that. Yep. And then every single man that I've dealt with this past year just wants to throw me around the ringer, treat me like I'm not a human being, discard me, talk to me like shit. I'm done. I'm just done. I don't care about anything anymore. I'm not following the rules anymore because when I follow the rules, look what happens. This happens. Nothing happens. Nothing good happens. It just takes away from me. So, no, I'm not paying my bills on time. You can all fucking die in a fire if you expect that. No, I'm not dating anybody. I'm unsubscribing from that because it just makes me feeling used like a wet mop. No, I'm not doing any of it. I'm not having children either. I couldn't imagine bringing a kid into this world. I love kids more than anything. I could not imagine having one in the state of this world. And it's not going to get better, by the way. It'll get better when I decide to live internationally one day, not here. I am done. I'm done with everything. I'm not following any rules. It doesn't do any of me justice anyway. It doesn't give me anything. It just leaves me hanging out to dry and feeling like absolute dog shit. So if you like the take of not following the rules anymore, saying fuck you to this dystopian society that is being created and built around us, and we have no control. We're fighting every single day just to survive. If you're over it, please follow along because I don't care anymore and I'm excited to not care. I don't care. Let's not care together.